Hey everyone, it's Soapy Bubbles, your favorite reviewer is back with another banger. Today I am going to be reviewing the film you guys voted for last weekend, and judging by the title of this video, you can probably guess what it is. You're probably wondering, why does Soapy sound like a rejected love interest for Stephen Hawking in a 2001 Simpsons gag, or why I appear to belong in the Crazy Frog music video? The answer to both of those questions is sadly one in the same. I originally planned on making an animated segment from scratch for this part of the video, but alas, things did not go to plan. You see, my friends, I am unfortunately a broke student, so I could not acquire an animation software I could use that would give me a product that I found satisfactory.
But Soapy, why don't you just wait for better animation software?
Well, my dearest Pringle, duty calls as they say, and it is my duty to provide all three of my active viewers that are not bots with some fresh, new, quality content. Hopefully, this intro segment did its job at being entertaining, and if you guys enjoy it, I will keep using this software to make silly segments like this in the future. But don't worry, my originally planned animation segments are not going anywhere, they will just have to be put on the back burner for now, and I will be back to being my usual 2D self past that oncoming title card. On that note, as they say in the biz, on with the show.
Pulp Fiction is a 1994 black comedy crime film, written and directed by critically acclaimed director Quentin Tarantino. The film stars John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, and Bruce Willis in the lead roles, and is centered around various interconnected stories about a group of criminals in LA. The film is based on the blaxploitation genre and pulp novels and magazines that were popular in the 1970s that Tarantino was heavily influenced by growing up. The film's plot is shown through a non-linear narrative, which Tarantino also used in his previous film, Reservoir Dogs, that is apparently set in the same universe as Pulp Fiction. Tarantino later became known for using this style of narrative. Pulp Fiction is often regarded as Tarantino's masterpiece, and hopefully in this review I will be able to try and explain why. The film opens with the definition of pulp on screen, making direct reference to pulp magazines, and the sound of a motorcycle can be heard in the background, foreshadowing perhaps? We then cut to a couple sitting in a restaurant. The woman, Honey Bunny, is played by Amanda Plummer, and the man, Pumpkin, is played by Tim Roth, an English actor who appeared as Mr. Orange in Reservoir Dogs. They discuss how they are getting sick of robbing liquor stores, as they are too dangerous due to the language barrier between them and the owners. Race and nationality tends to be quite a large theme in Tarantino's films, as well as the fact that these owners have weapons to defend themselves, and often see the robberies as personal attacks due to owning these businesses for many generations in order to provide for their families as immigrants. Pumpkin calls the waitress to order more coffee, using the word garçon, which the waitress corrects him about, telling him it means boy, a funny little nod to the point they were just making about language barriers. The couple come up with the idea to rob coffee shops and restaurants, as they are more unsuspecting and defenseless.
I bet you could cut down on the hero factor in a place like this.
Now that is irony!
Starting with the one they are in now. As the pair begin their stick-up, the frame freezes and transitions into the opening credits, the song Meesaloo by Dick Dale serving as an opening song, along with Jungle Boogie by Kool and the Gang. Both songs are straight fire in my opinion, so no complaints from me. We are then introduced to Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega, two gangsters who are played by John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson. Many people consider this the role that revamped Travolta's career, and honestly I can see why. He plays Vincent very well. Vincent is established as a well-travelled man, having just returned from a 3-year trip to the Netherlands, and we get this iconic line.
And you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
And what do they call it?
They call it Royale with cheese.
They then head into an apartment for their next job, a hit on their boss Marcellus Wallace's ex-associates, and collecting a briefcase that apparently belongs to him. While moving through the building, They have a discussion about Marcellus's new wife Mia. According to Jules, she was an actress who only had her big shot in a pilot that never became a television program.
She starred in one of the ones that became nothing.
Jules then makes Vincent aware of the rumour that Marcellus threw a half-black, half-Samoan man, nicknamed Tony Rocky Horror, off of a 4-story balcony for giving Mia Wallace a foot massage, leading to the infamous conversation about how personal it is to give another man's wife a foot massage, and whether being that angry about it or not is justified.
Would you give a guy a foot massage?
Fuck you.
When they reach the right room to collect the briefcase and carry out their business, we are treated to one of the greatest scenes of tension and dialogue ever put to screen. This film won a Palme d'Or for a reason, guys. Jules plays the game of friend or foe with a fake nicety and passive aggressiveness to the way he addresses and communicates with the men they plan on killing. The nervousness of Brett and his friends gives the impression that they aren't very experienced gangsters, and they seem perfectly aware of what is about to happen. This adds to the tension of the scene, as there is a clear power dynamic between the two groups. My man Brett really has great taste in pop though.
Finish.
Sprite.
This is also a very good way to introduce Marcellus to an audience as a scary figure. To the audience, he's simply a presence at the moment, and all we know about him is his ethnicity. He's bold, and he has the authority and power to employ people to kill those who he sees as having wronged him. After his Ezekiel 25:17 speech, which isn't actually mostly Ezekiel in the first place, Jules shoots and kills Brett, and the audience is greeted with another title card that reads, Vincent Vega and Marcellus Wallace's wife. I wonder. We are then introduced to Butch Coolidge, a boxer who is making a deal with Marcellus, saying he will purposefully lose the match in return for a sum of money. However, at first Butch is reluctant to agree to the deal, but Marcellus intimidates him into going along with it.
In the 5th, your ass goes down. Say it. In the 5th, my ass goes down.
We are still not shown a good look at Marcellus's face, a good use of using the unknown to give an audience a feeling of unease along with the dialogue. The song Let's Stay Together by Al Green plays in the background of this scene, a slow-paced, softer-sounding song to juxtapose the aforementioned feeling of unease created by what the characters are actually doing. Jules and Vince then arrive in a rather questionable get-up and are greeted at the door by Marcellus's bartender Paul. A conversation between the three of them reveals that Vince will be taking Mia out for dinner the next night under request from Marcellus, and Jules is unable to take the situation seriously, although Vince is visibly worried. Butch approaches the bar, and Vince is openly rude to him and talks down to him. Marcellus greets Vince happily and they hug, and Butch is visibly unsettled by this, seemingly taking it as Vince being rewarded for seeing people like him as scum. We then cut to a woman called Jodie and her friend discussing the 18 piercings she has throughout her body. Riveting stuff, really. Vince is then met by his drug dealer Lance, who is played by Eric Stoltz, who is Rocky Dennis in the film Mask and the original Marty McFly. Lance is shown to be kind of questionable in terms of morality. For one, he's a drug dealer, so he clearly does not care about the people he's affecting health-wise. 2, he refers to people of different ethnicities using rather unsavory language. He talks Vincent into buying heroin, and they have a humorous back and forth about the women in the apartment.
Which one's true? One with all the shit in her face?
No, that's Jody. That's my wife.
This establishes a friendliness between the two, which will be useful later on. Vince is then seen shooting up the heroin and driving on his way to pick up Mia for their dinner arrangements. We are treated to a dreamlike sequence, accentuated by busting surfboards by the tornadoes, and this is obviously meant to signify Vince tripping balls. The epical car that Vince drives, a 1964 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, actually belonged to Tarantino and was stolen from the set of Pulp Fiction after the scenes involving it were shot. Unfortunately, it was not recovered until 2 decades later. Vince goes to pick up Mia at her house. She leaves him a note and he enters the house, Son of a Preacher Man by Dusty Springfield playing in the background. This time a record player is revealed to be its source, rather than something to establish some sort of mood outside of the character's awareness. She addresses him teasingly over the intercom, and is seen watching him over the CCTV, and much like her husband Marcellus, we do not see her face right away. While Vincent pours himself a drink, we see her figure snorting lines of cocaine. The pair leave and go to a 1950s retro diner named Jack Rabbit Slim's. Tarantino demonstrates his directing talent through a one-shot of Vincent traipsing through the restaurant, establishing the environment they are in, a wax museum with a pulse, as Vincent puts it. He and Mia make small talk as they wait for their food, and Mia discusses her 15 Minutes, the pilot that Jules brought up earlier in the film, which Mia divulges was titled The Fox Force 5. I think the fact that this was a female spy show, a genre that is typically associated with vampy protagonists, is meant to add some sort of mystery and allure around Mia's character that has been given to Vincent and the audience through the rumours about her, and the fact that we haven't actually seen much of her character yet. The show actually sounds decent, the kind of show I'd watch if I was bored on a Saturday morning as a kid. After an uncomfortable silence, Mia leaves to go powder her nose, literally, in the bathroom to give Vince a chance to come up with something to say. With some hesitation and goading from Mia, Vince asks her about the foot massage rumour, and she negates it with an air of ridiculing such an idea.
You heard Marcellus threw Tony Rocky Horror out a four-story window for giving me a foot massage?
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that?
As she didn't have much of a volatile reaction, especially under the influence of a stimulant, this makes Mia seem rather cool-headed and down-to-earth.